All right, great. So just wanted to give an overview of the space to show a little bit about what we're working with here. So this is the apartment on 10 Bleecker Street. You can see it's got plenty of windows. Let's actually just go over some of the pros and actually just the general features of it. The main features you see is that there's lots of windows. There is this L shape to it. In addition, it's facing, it's got a corner unit, which was really nice. The side with the 3 windows is facing Bleecker Street. The side with the 6 windows is facing Elizabeth Street. In addition, you have these 3 support pillars that you can see here. There's actually a 4th one that I'm having drawn. The 4th one is right by the front door on the far right side in the corner. But there's these 3 support pillars with this very large support column that kind of goes across the entire apartment. Right now, the support column, the support column is covered in plaster, so it's unclear what material it is. I've been told it's a very large piece of wood, so it's a kind of a big industrial piece of wood, and I've heard that people have done very interesting things with it in their apartments, so maybe we could get rid of the plaster and do something interesting with that as well. But generally, the space is really, really nice. You get this very industrial feel. There's it's a large 11-foot ceiling loft. It's right now, there should be brick behind this. It's all covered in plaster, but with the exposed brick, it could be very nice. These windows are massive. It's floor to ceiling about 11 feet. These windows are about roughly 7 feet tall. So huge windows. You only come up to about half the height of this thing when you're standing in it. So these are kind of the pros, this industrial feel, these windows. While I'm talking about the windows, might as well mention the light. There's huge amounts of light that comes in these 3 windows that face Bleecker Street, because across the street there's really very little in the way of obstruction. So you have a lot of direct sunlight. In addition, the few buildings that you can see on the Bleecker side of the street, they are all relatively new and have shiny glass structures, facades. So, they get a lot of indirect sunlight, huge amounts of reflective sunlight. Just when the sun is setting or rising, a lot of it reflects right into the apartment. It makes the apartment very, very bright, which is great. These other 6 windows that are facing Elizabeth Street, the ones closer to the corner get a significant amount of light. The ones further away if you go further away from Bleecker Street, you get less and less light. And the window in the far rear, to make it even darker, there's a fire escape in front of it, which further obstructs some of the light that comes in. So the back window is definitely is the least bright by far. So these are important considerations, I think, when you think about this apartment. The other, major important thing about this apartment, the big negative, is this, the segment near the entryway. Obviously, the windows are beautiful, but there's this whole section of apartment, which is probably, 400 or 500 square feet. That's maybe 300 or 400 square feet there's no windows, and it's relatively, it's hard to utilize it properly. So, one of the main challenges is utilizing the space, that space effectively, while still getting the best out of this apartment. So that's the overview. I'm not sure I'm remembering anything else. It's a gorgeous apartment. There's, of course, like any New York City apartment, there's going to be pros and cons, but I think there's plenty of here to work with and to make something really, really beautiful. All right, thanks a lot.